How's everybody doing? Welcome to Solution Seekers. As you know, I'm Kelly. For those of you who don't know, how you doing, man? It's a pleasure to meet you. Today is Sunday, and suicide prevention is coming up. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine. Well, yeah, I think she is a good friend of mine. she's been she's been struggling with some mental health issues. I've been struggling with some mental health issues, and I think everybody is, to a greater or lesser degree. Emotional distress, the pandemic, the election, all the killing, all of the animosity about the protests, not only the protests, but the looting, teenagers shooting people. The list goes on and on and on. And, more importantly, just the sheer conflict that's going on in social media with people. And that I don't think there's a complete understanding about, if it's my way, if it's your way, or how about this thought? How about our way collectively? You know, that's just me, and that's just how I try to see things. Because for a very long time, it was all about my way, and then at some point, I just realized that my way just never worked. It sure didn't work for me, because obviously I had to make some changes in my life in 2012, and and as a result of that, I get the sheer honor and privilege of being around all you people. Yes, even you people online. Because if nobody's told you this today, if nobody told you that they have loved you, they love you. Well, I do. Um, Suicide Prevention Week starts September 6th until the 12th. But mental health awareness and suicide prevention for some of us is a daily process. And what I mean by that is that I get the sheer blessing of being afflicted with bipolar. I don't look at it as being a burden, a curse, or anything. It just puts me in a position of, it just makes life that much more interesting. And a few years ago, I just realized that I get to experience something most people never get to experience in their life. And it just it. I always looked at it as being some type of opposition, a hurdle, a challenge. Just all the things that life just does to us, not for us. Well, it does it to us at first, but then looking back at it later on, I start realizing that, you know what, it was for my benefit. And I just want to chime in here, and I'm going to make this a series leading up to the 6th about what suicide awareness is for me, what mental health awareness means to me, as well as always seeking a solution. I'm just coming off another back issue again. But suicide. I have several suicide attempts over my life. I also have several. Have been on several 3-day holds, 30-day holds, and 90-day holds in mental institutions. And I just, when things hit me, I always played the victim. It was just like, man, what am I going to do? Life would be so much better if life didn't have to deal with me. It's a warm, tingly feeling, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful that none of my attempts were successful. Um, But I will say that even with going through all this emotional distress of dealing with my back, because everything that's going on in the world, I can really care less, because that's chaos, and some of us are used to dealing with chaos, and not just dealing with the chaos, but being able to manage it. And I think that my emotional IQ has a lot to play in that. But what I've done is I've looked at suicide prevention, or just suicide is not an answer. It's a temporary solution. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I think one of the greatest things is finding the coping mechanisms, finding the will, finding the courage just to get over those humps. Because trust me, those humps always pop up, and they're never going to stop. But I found out that once I turn the TV off, I turn on the PlayStation, I watch some YouTube videos, I would listen to podcasts. I would listen to history. For the people who know me, I'm a history buff. I love information of all types. Um, but what I also do is that I will completely have to get out of my head for a moment, and how that and what I do when those times comes, it changes each and every time. There's no definite way of saying that I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do this. Like a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Matt, who's also bipolar, and he just says, "Dude, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?" And I says, "Man, just live with it. Quit trying to fight it, and just live with it." Because he feels like he's got a lot of responsibilities for his age, and it's not an easy process to live with. But what's on the backside of you not dealing with it? It's going to deal with you in uncertain terms, and I like to think that it's just one side of my mind trying to kill the other half. And so far, it hasn't been successful on my part. But what I will say that every day that I wake up, sometimes I ask myself, is this the day that I'm just going to say to hell with everything? Especially when I turn on the TV and I'm seeing all this vilifying this, I'm seeing promoting this, I'm seeing this, and it's all an emotional appeal, and I'm really just sick of it. So what do I have to do? Well, not listen to it, not pay attention to it, but yet set some boundaries on it, and knowing that I'm not the only one going through this. Trust me, I'm not. And when I do go through those little moments, I typically go on social media and I'll express what I'm going through. Not in the means of getting validation from anything, but just a means of letting people know that they're not going through this shitstorm all by themselves. And a lot of people won't like it, or a lot of people won't comment, but I'll get messages in the back and I'll say, "Oh, Kelly, thank you. I've been going through the same things," and I always appreciate when you can just elaborate or articulate what you're going through, because when it hits me, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Um, and then sometimes I choose not to deal with it at all, and I'll just play GTA 5 or Call of Duty, God of War, or I found video games is a good exercise, and just getting out of my head, quit focusing on something, or reading a book, or taking a walk. I don't have any animals, or I'll go to my friend's house who has a dog, and I'll just go in their backyard, just run around in their backyard with the dog, and then it's a very really big dog, and my back is messed up, and the next thing you know, I'm like, "Oh, call 911 because I can't get up." But you know, with the back pain, the discomfort of back pain is all worth it, because I would rather have this back pain or debilitating back pain as far as the mental pain. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. There's emotional pain, there's spiritual pain, physical pain, but that mental pain, that mental anguish, is something that most people don't have to go through, and most people really don't understand it. And I can't try to make anybody understand anything. You either get it or you don't. And if you're dealing with this is completely different, because I can be having such a great day, and then the next thing I know, I want to kill myself. you know um and I don't know where those thoughts, feelings, or emotions come from. They just pop up. It's just something in the back of my brain is just trying to kill me. And I've been fighting with it, and everything will be going good, and I'll be having a great time. And then just all of a sudden, I hear little voices just saying, "Kelly, you know what time it is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, time for you to shut the fuck up and leave me the fuck alone." And then sometimes I gotta say, "Look, I live with my bipolar like this, and I don't. Since COVID, I really haven't got to express it, because I speak on a lot of panels um, at a lot of drug treatment centers. When the things pop up, I have to tell myself that first. I thought we have a little agreement, right? Sometimes you, sometimes me. When those moments pop up, I'll just say, "Look, man, you know what? This is not a really good time. Can you just give me like a couple hours? Wait till I get home, and then you can kind of inflect and mess with my head all that you want to. But for the moment, just let me get through these next few hours, or this shift at work, or if I'm in a grocery store, or if I'm driving. Sometimes I'll pull over and I'll put some music on. Music is also what inspires me to a greater or lesser degree, depending on my different moods. And I have different music from different stuff. The people that know me, when I'm really feeling it, I put The Cure, The Smiths on, and I'm just going to the anguish of some of that 80s music. And, but then I have my many different moods. I have different music that kind of like it keeps me in focus. I don't know what keeps you in focus. I know some friends of mine who paint. I know some friends of mine who work out. I know some people who go bird watching. They'll just go do something other than just sitting in that dark room, because most of us are going to sit in a dark room and we're just all just depressed and stuff is just consuming us, and we can't stop it. You know what? And you can, I can't. I used to get mad at people when they did that, when they would go through that process. But I can't blame them, because a lot of people just don't know how to combat this. This is a very serious issue, even more so now today. Because I was looking at some statistics, and suicide is at an all-time high this year. But what can you possibly expect? We're living in some unprecedented. We're living in some very confusing times right now, and I've a few weeks ago, the thought came upon me, just, man, Kelly, you can't find the right opportunity. It gave me all these excuses, right? All these excuses why I shouldn't be here, you know? So I immediately called somebody, and they were just like, oh, Kelly, you know how great you are. Do you know how much you've inspired me? And, at the end of the day, you're just going to have to pick up the phone and call somebody. Because sometimes just dealing with this, it's just not going to be enough. Dealing with this is not going to be enough. I believe in God, so I give to God. But you know what? I give the issues to God, the things that happen in my life that I'm not strong enough to deal with. I give to God, and God just rejects it. What do you mean you're not strong enough to deal with this? Just go ahead and deal with this. When you deal with this, now you can go share it with somebody else and empower somebody else, because that's just what it's all about. Each one reach one, trying to empower somebody else so they can get all those humps, hurdles, and stages and phases of life, because we all go through them to a greater or lesser degree. They're not the defining moment in our lives. Our defining moment is our actions once those issues pop up, and sometimes they pop up, like mine will pop up in tens. Then I'll get some smooth sailing, and the people that know me, when everything is smooth sailing, I get really nervous because I'm not used to that. I'm used to dysfunction, toxicity, and chaos. And I thrive in that, because now, I have something to do, until it pops up and I'm like, oh shit. And like even my roommate says, man, I don't envy you at all, man. He says, I don't even know how you go through it with not, I don't smoke weed. I don't drink alcohol. I smoke cigarettes, and I smoke too much, because I've given everything else up, and I'm still trying to stop that, because I know it's not good for me. But for the moment, it's the best thing that I have to cope. And if that works, I have to stick to that, um, and just know that anything that I'm facing, as far as what my mind or my emotions are doing to me, this is just temporary, and I will make it through this. You know, I want to make this a series up until that, and what I'm going to do is I got to try to go back and remember what created a lot of the situations where I felt that way, like I wanted to commit suicide, like I wanted, or maybe I had to go commit myself into a mental hospital because I was losing control, and I didn't want to hurt anybody, nor did I didn't want to hurt myself. But that was a little small voice in my head. The large voice was telling me that, oh man, you're this, you're that, you're never gonna measure up. What do I think that I'm doing trying to get my life together? What do I think that I'm doing trying to get a career in my 40s? What do I think that I'm trying to, pay my bills and be a responsible, active member of society, and even still, with all this stuff going on, I can always come up with an excuse. But at the end of the day, the excuses just don't work, because the excuses will always be there. But what's on the backside of an excuse? It's the purpose. What's your purpose? My purpose is that I'm not a victim. And I have to tell myself that I'm not a victim. So stop acting like a victim. What a victim does is a victim feels so sorry for herself that I just want to go ahead and take myself out the world because I don't have anything to give to the world. Well, you know what? Hold up. I have to tell myself, hold up a minute. Because, you know, each and every one of us, even the people I don't like, they all have gifts, talents, and abilities. They all have something that we're all separate. We're all different. None of us are alike. You know, we are uniquely. There will never be another one of you, and God forbid there'll never be another one of me. That would be a disaster. But we all have those gifts, talents, and abilities. And for each person who arbitrarily loses their life before they're supposed to die, the world loses. So for every person who wants to commit suicide, you're denying the world of the ability to have a special person. Like this person that I refer to, why I'm doing this right now. My God, when she sings, and she'll go on Facebook and she'll sing these songs, and she did a song by Danzig that I really like, and I was just like, wow, look at this amazing person just doing this. You know, this is even before um, I knew about the underlying issues that this person has, and but I think it's we have to see that our ability to just say to tell everybody, look, man, I'm having a fucking very difficult time dealing with life right now. And then and a lot of people that I see when they do that, they'll always have their friends chime in. You know, where would we be without other people? Because let's be honest, none of us will be where we are today had it not been for somebody else. And we all need help. We all need assistance. And I like to don't think that I do, but I do. You know, I tell people that because I always go to God first and foremost. Because you know, my life has been shitty. It was a shitty hell, and I loved every minute of it. But you know what? No, I didn't because thought I was anti people. But you know what? I'm constantly being reminded that I'm a fucking people person. If that isn't talking about change, I don't know what is. But just know this: that hopefully, um, I have something that's valid for people to get, and I'm not I'm just doing it because it's the right thing to do. You know, I've always been the person that where nobody else wants to do it. Okay, here, I'll volunteer to go do it. I'll always go volunteer. I'll always go volunteer because I like to think that that's my duty. You know, to stand up, to set the example, lead by example. And I don't want to do it, but it seems to be my calling, I guess. I don't know. But we'll figure that out as we go along. Well, I hope you guys got something out of this. And thank you for listening.